One, two, three, four.
We'd like to welcome to the podcast Brett Ekkens, head football coach at Tiffin University. Coach, thanks so much for taking some time with us today as we make our stop at Tiffin for our Talkin G-MAC tailgate tour.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to talk a little football and talk about our great program.
Of course, well, headed into your second season at the helm with the Dragons, the first season's always a little different, right? You're trying to establish your program, and I know Tiffin had some success, prior to you getting there. But what was last year like for you in Tiffin, and establishing your program, and finished the year 8-4, so and with a trip to America's Crossroads Bowl as well. So, what was 2024 like, and how can you build upon that as you head into 2025?
Yeah, I mean it was a whirlwind. I'm not gonna lie. It was great. I enjoyed it. I learned a lot. The team, we all learned a lot about each other, and it wasn't just me. Every coach on my staff, with the exception of one, was coaching in a new role that they'd never coached before. So, the hiring process, we took our time and found the right people, and I think that paid off as the season went. But there was a lot of learning curve for everybody, and we feel much, much more comfortable with the continuity of our team and our staff rolling into year two. So we're really excited.
Well, what's that feeling like for you as a head football coach, as those guys trickle back in onto campus after summer break? You wrap up spring practice, right? And then you don't see them for some time, or you maybe don't see all of them for some time in an organized fashion. So what's it like once those guys get back on campus in the fall? They start getting back, getting ready to go to class, and they really start finding their groove as you head into fall and you get ready for that week one matchup.
Yeah, it's a breath of fresh air, to be honest. Everybody came back. We've been in camp for a little over a week, and it was so exciting. Day one, seeing all the guys that you hadn't seen all summer, and them coming in with smiling faces, the coaches being just as excited. That's always a great feeling. And then getting into camp, I think the way that we structure our camp days, we work really, really hard, but there's a lot of team bonding and fun that's built into it, and I think our players really enjoy that process together. Each year is another opportunity, and a different opportunity to build a new culture, and really learn what our standard is going to be, and how is this team different from last year. So it's been fun going through all that, and we're off to a great start.
Well, I saw on social media you talked about some of the stuff that you all do in fall camp to really kind of get the guys going and ready. I know it's their long days, right, and getting ready for a grueling season. So I guess trying to keep things light sometimes. I saw that Tiffin alum Nate Washington made a visit to campus. What was that like to have somebody who's had success at the next level, but also still giving back to Tiffin, and maybe not somebody that you coach necessarily, but still involved with the program and willing to come talk to the guys?
It was unbelievable. I mean, he spent 3 days with us, 3 full days, was at staff meetings at 7 a.m. and at every practice, every meeting. He was able to pour into not just the staff, but the players. They really connected with him and his story. And anytime that you've got an 11-year NFL vet, I mean, he was a captain of the Tennessee Titans. It is a special thing, but his humility to come back and, just be one of the guys that's there to help. It was awesome. He spent a lot of time with our receivers, obviously, but it was a massive help for our team and our coaching staff. And he's an amazing person that has a heart to give, and a story that a lot of our players can relate with. So it was awesome. It was amazing. I wish he could do it every year. And I'm so thankful that he came and spent that time with us.
Yeah, I'm sure that was awesome for your student athletes to get to hear, and your coaching staff as well to bounce ideas off someone who's got that much experience. So I'm sure that was something that they'll look back on and remember as far as the 2025 season goes. Well, we've talked a lot about the continuity of the coaching staff. You mentioned a little bit the continuity of your student athletes and some of your returners. I think the 2 most notable ones kinda made headlines last week with the D2Football.com, Elite 100 watch list, Chris Walton and Ronald Blackman, who were, GMAC Player of the Year and GMAC Defensive Lineman of the Year. So, certainly made, a statement, in the 2024 season, and I'm sure you're hopeful that they do that as well, in 2025. But what's it like to have some of those veteran guys and some of those seniors back, and some guys with experience as you head into your second year and as you try to build off some of the success from 2024?
It's a great thing. Those are the guys that are the standard drivers. We can sit here and talk about culture all we want till we're blue in the face, and every team has a culture, whether it's good or bad. But the decision that our veteran guys made, that we were going to do things a certain way, and the standard was going to be driven through them. That's been the biggest change. Coming into last year, we had 4 returning starters. That's not the case going into this year, and Ronald and Chris are 2 of them. Alex Johnson's back, our quarterback, which is amazing. We have 8 of our 11 all conference players back. So we're in a very different feeling going into camp this year. Now there's high expectations, and it is the challenge is to meet the standard and the expectations we set for ourselves every day. Our conference is a tough conference with the elite competition, and we respect the people that we play against. So we're fired up to just battle ourselves in our process day in and day out. I'd say that's the biggest change is we're not wondering if we have a chance to maybe go and do some great things. It's going to be a big letdown if we don't meet the standard that we set for ourselves, and that's an everyday thing, not an end of the year thing. So we're a process oriented team, and we're locked in on are we meeting our daily process and standard. It's a lot of fun.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned Alex Johnson. He was on my list to ask you about as well. Anytime you can get a quarterback back, I think it's really just helps your offense be able to drive a little bit when they've got some continuity when it comes to that position because it's just so important to the success of the offense. He was a 2024 Offensive Player of the Year, so obviously you get him and Ronald Blackman back on that side of the ball. What can folks expect from the Dragons offense this year? I know it was high powered and I know it was exciting to watch last year. But with those 2 guys returning and having some familiarity with themselves as well as some of those other returners, what can we expect on that side of the ball from the Dragons?
We feel like we've really been able to take another step through spring ball and into early fall camp. We've done a lot to change things we didn't like in our offense. You're going to see it's going to look a little bit different, which is great. It's been a lot of fun diving into what we put together last year, what we pieced together, and saying, "Hey, this worked and this didn't, and how can we be more efficient?" We've taken a deep dive into our self scout, and I think you're going to see a lot of the same things with the high powered approach, but at the same time, you're going to see us look different at times. And we are not going to ever sit and settle. We are going to continue to pursue forward and pursue being a great offense. So that's been the big offseason project is how can we do those things? And it's easier to do when you have so many guys coming back. The language is familiar, and now we can work on, we call it football 3 and 400, not football 100.
Yeah, I think it's certainly I think easier when you've got some guys who know how you operate, especially when you talk about some of the freshman class or maybe some transfers that you were able to pick up in the off season. Can you talk about maybe some guys to watch out for? Maybe somebody I didn't find it in my research. You don't have to give it all away, but just some guys who maybe have surprised you or really stood out to you this early on in fall camp.
Yeah, I'm going to start with some of the guys that have been on the team and been here that have appeared for us, that have started games for us, but have had amazing off seasons. And the first guy I've got to mention is Malik Baker. He played our boundary corner last year, and man, he has had a phenomenal off season. He's the guy in camp so far on the defensive side of the ball that stood out the most. And there's no secret about that. It's obvious that he's put in the work. Him and Will Jackson Linkhart have been going back and forth, and that's the other guy. We always talk about iron sharpening iron in our program, and we compete with one another and against our opponent. And those two have been so much fun to watch throughout camp, going back and forth. And I would be remiss if I didn't talk about them. They've been awesome. And a number of guys have been. Our O line and D line, with so many guys coming back on both sides of the ball there, that has been a battle every single day. And those guys enjoy each other, which is fun because there's some good banter back and forth and a lot of laughter in the cafeteria afterwards. We added a few transfers, and we're always going to use the transfer portal to meet needs that we might see that we have. But this year it was more of a want than a necessity. Last year we felt like it was a necessity to bring in. We brought in 15 transfers because we felt like we needed to. We've got a number of guys that will contribute, and a few of those names. Amari White from UTEP, he played receiver for them. He's come in right away and made an impact in camp. Him and Jaden McKinstry, who grew up in this area and has gone to Bowling Green and then Louisiana Monroe and found his home here. Those have been two great additions to that room. Daniel Weems is a running back that joined our running back room. Nico Bowler and Ethan Evers and Cole McElvaney have been great additions in our linebacker room. The list goes on. We've added a few O linemen as we needed to add depth and not just for depth, but to go in that room and to push to start. And it's been a great off season. And the unique thing about our program is, as we've added, about half of the amount of guys we added last year, our team is set up where they accept those guys with open arms. And again, our mantra is compete with your teammates. So we go to war every day, and it's a lot of fun out at practice. So there's a lot of names I could list. But our guys that are here, Javier Wills has had a great camp as well. Our receiver room's been a lot of fun to watch. So I could continue to talk till I was blue in the face about our team. But it's been exciting.
Well, it's certainly an exciting time, I think, for football programs across the country, just to be back together and spending time and getting ready for that week 1 matchup. Before we get into some of that, I do want to ask you, Ben Rudolph. I think the kickers may not get all the love that they always deserve, and I think there's some fun ribbing that goes on between punters and kickers and the rest of the guys on the team. But he was recently named to the Fred Mitchell Award preseason nominee. Outstanding place kicker for you guys last season. He led all GMAC kickers in scoring, but I think one of the most notable, I guess, stat lines from that, he almost led the entire GMAC in scoring. He was only second to his teammate Ronald Blackman, who plays running back. So he was instrumental for you guys in your success last season. And what can somebody like that, we talk about the 3 phases of football, and I think sometimes we hone in a lot on the offensive and defensive side, but special teams being a huge part of that. What can somebody like him bring to your team?
Yeah, in our program, we spend more time than any place I've ever been on special teams. It is something for us. We call it's our culture on display. And if you want to see a great team, watch their special teams, who's involved and who's bought in. And Ben, your kicker and your punter and your snapper, they're the ones that are looked at the most in those roles. So the thing for Ben is, he came in as a freshman and he was very consistent right away. It was a lot of fun to see him grow in his ability to handle pressure and stress, and he did that throughout the season. But it's been even more fun watching him this offseason. Anthony Turnage, we brought him in. He's a experienced kicker and punter as well, and the two of them have really bonded and competed with each other all spring and all summer and into fall camp. And it's been a lot of fun to see how much better both of them have gotten because of that competition and the lack of ego. It's really cool to see. So he's been great throughout camp. I think he might have missed his first field goal today. We had some wind at practice, so I've been trying to get inside of his head, and I haven't yet. So that's a good sign. And his range has grown by about 10 yards in an off season, which is really, really great to see.
That's awesome. Well, we'll move on because I don't want to jinx any of that. I feel like every time I start talking about kicker streaks, that's when they miss. So I won't. I will. People can look up his stats from last year. We won't have to spend and dwell too much time on that. But certainly, in addition to your team, to have somebody that you trust in that plays kicker position, I want to talk about week one. Um, you open the season with Wayne State on Thursday, September 4th. I know it's a couple of weeks away from that as we're recording this. Folks may be hearing this a little bit later than when we recorded, but what do you know about Wayne State and how do you prepare for that week one matchup in the non-conference slate as you get ready for a GMAC opener in a couple weeks after that?
Yeah, I think throughout the summer, as our coaching staff would be concerned, you prepare. We've got as much film as we're going to have on them, and it really allows us to put together a plan. And we go into camp with that plan, and then we put that on the shelf for a little while, and we focus on us and getting as fundamentally good as we can. And if you spend the time and do the work in the summer, that first initial scouting report comes a little bit easier. They're a great team. They're going to be a team that's ready to play. I know that their coaching staff is inspired. They've got some new coaches that are inspired to really put Wayne State back where they know they can be. And for us, we don't take anybody lightly. They're a team that can come out and they can make plays. They've got experienced guys on both sides of the ball, and they've got talent on both sides of the ball. They're going to be a team that we've got to be prepared to play, and they're going to stretch every rule that we have. They did that last year, and they're going to make us. We have to keep the ball secure. We did not do a good job of that last year, and we've got to go take the ball away. Those are things that we talk about doing a lot, but it's going to test our fundamentals, and they're a great program, and I've got a ton of respect for them. Coached against them the last 3 years. This will be the fourth year in a row, and man, they do a great job.
Well, Brett, uh, I haven't asked a ton of people about their week two matchup, but I really want to just let the folks know who's on your schedule. You play Wayne State on Thursday. You get a little extra time to prepare for that week two matchup, which is Ferris State, the defending national champions. A great test for your guys and your team as you head in to the conference late the next week. But what do those matchups look like? I think a lot of people will hone in on the fact that Ferris is the defending national champions and they've had a lot of success and maybe uh, that'll be a benefit of the doubt for you guys. But how do you prepare for games like that, knowing that it's a new season and things are different for that team and truly anything can happen as you prepare for those non conference matchups?
Yeah, I think, we don't sit there and think about it every day. That's not the way that we want to operate. We're a process oriented team, like I said. But when we got the team back together, we talked about what the season looked like and what we're going to need to do week in and week out. We set goals and our standards come off of those goals. And, Ferris State has earned everything that they have. They're a great football team that's well coached. They've recruited really well. And for us, when we made the decision to sign the deal with them, talking through it with my coaching staff and with our athletic administration, we want to play the best. We want to continue to improve this program. Our goal is to continue to take Tiffin University football and move it forward. And in order to do that, you have to play the best of the best. And when we had the opportunity to play them, we ultimately decided to give away a home game to do so. And that was something that a lot of people don't understand that move and they won't understand that move. But our kids, and we talk about our student athletes, they want to play in big games, and that's going to be a big game. They're a great team. They're going to be focused on us that week. There's no doubt they play an elite schedule, but make no mistake about it, they're not going to take us lightly, and we're not going to take them lightly. So guys like Jacob Tweme, one of the leaders of our team, talking with him, man, when I told the team that we were going to go play Ferris State, he's really excited because we want to play the best. We want to go out and we want to measure ourselves against that because we're preparing every day with the intention in mind to be the best. So for us, it's all about going into each day and honing into our process and not necessarily thinking about that week two game, but focusing on us right now. We're not even focused on week one. We're focused on how good can the Tiffin University Dragons be tomorrow, and that's our focus and our mindset. we're excited about that game, but we will be as excited about every single game that we play, and we're going to prepare for every game the same way.
We've talked a lot about X's and O's and a lot about returners and things like that. And we could go on and talk about stats and building off of what you all have done. And you've talked a lot about team culture and things like that. And I did some research, obviously, on the team to prepare for this. But you know them better than probably anybody else? What's something that you've learned about this 2025 Tiffin Dragons football team that maybe we can't find on paper that makes them special or that you're really proud of?
I would say that it's the deepest brotherhood that I've ever seen. And every team in the country will break it down and say family on three, right? For us, we use our culture is grind. That's our culture, right? And it's an acronym that stands for the things that we stand for. But our players, this is the only place I've coached where our team has been as tight as they are. And I really would like to tip my cap to Coach Reiser and Coach Goff before me at laying that foundation. But when I interviewed with Kelly Daniel for this job, she said this team is different. And you're not going to know that until you get your hands on them and take over. And she was right. And going into year 2 with this team, it is only amplified. It is a true brotherhood. And I've never have I seen a group of individuals that care more for their teammates than here. So that is an exciting thing. Guys that are having practices that are less than their best. Our coaching staff has had to spend a lot less time putting our arm around people because the players are doing that already. And there's been a lot of work that has come into continuing to build that brotherhood. But our group is incredibly tight. And that's the thing. You're not going to see that anywhere on paper. You can look in pictures and see the way that they look at each other. But the best way that you can experience it is coming to a game and watching them cheer each other on, because it is special.
Well, Brett, I certainly appreciate your time today. And I know you're a busy guy and probably have practice somewhere on the docket in the next few hours. But we certainly wish you guys the best of luck. And we'll be looking forward to some of those non conference games when we can cheer you all on, because when you start playing each other, there's a little less cheering that comes on from us. So enjoy the rest of fall camp and best of luck in week 1. And we'll be looking to catch up with you sometime towards the end of the year.
Yeah, thank you so much. And looking forward to seeing you at one of our games.